I was a complete misfit in Japan. I didn't know a few lines of Japanese was all I knew. A vegetarian, teetotaler, non-smoker. So people used to say, so what the hell are you doing in Japan? Right? We were zero revenues. We had maybe 1.5 lakhs in the bank. Our burn was about 3 lakhs, so we had 15 days of cash left. We had almost decided that we'll shut down. So what started with one guy delivering 8 packets a day in Hosur, just outskirts of Bangalore, grew into OneBridge, where we now have, as we speak, we would have deployed today about 3,000 people delivering about 60,000 packages per day. Somebody from DPIT called to say, yesterday somebody from PMO called to ask how to pronounce your name. I said, why would they do that? He said, something
Hope for the right reasons.
Man Ki Baat. I said, yeah. I said, when is it? He said, it should be out now sometime. I said, switch on the radio. An entrepreneurial journey gives a far more fulfilling perspective.
Absolutely.
May not necessarily be money.
Correct.
Right? But the thrill of entrepreneurship, the addiction. At the core of it, I would just say, you know what? Spread the love, spread the warmth. Make sure that we're able to help each and everyone around the way.
Welcome to an episode by Pace Wisdom, a podcast that brings inspiring stories and insights from successful entrepreneurs and unsung heroes. Today, we just shot an episode with Madan Padaki, the man himself, the founder of MeritTrac. He then later went to co-found Heidelberg Foundation, then later was OneBridge. The story is amazing. It is not just about he being an entrepreneur. He has just chosen the path of enriching the rural entrepreneurship in India and trying to build a culture of social entrepreneurship and a great aura amongst many entrepreneurs. He's been an influence, he's been a mentor, he's been a go-to guy for many companies and many entrepreneurs whenever there is a challenge. Madan, also being the president of TiE Bangalore, has brought a lot of initiatives. I personally have been part of few initiatives and must say it's a great aura, man. Watch this episode with Mr. Madan Padaki, and I'm sure you're just going to be relishing it because this is just like a conversation with a good friend over a great coffee. That's how this episode has been crafted. Dive in now to watch it. Hi Madan.
Hey Bharat.
Welcome to an episode by Pace Wisdom.
Thank you for having me on the show. Fantastic to be in conversation with you.
Yeah, it's indeed my pleasure. I have some good journeys with you, and now a podcast is a perfect icing on this journey.
Perfect.
I'm sure this is going to be like a blind interaction rather than being a question and answer session of podcast. For all of that I know about you, and also to match your energy, I just don't know what's going to happen now.
I derive most of the energy from folks like you, so it's going to be fun.
This is a googly Madan. Okay, so Madan, you grew up in Bangalore and the so-called old Bengaluru.
Yeah.
And city rich with complete of culture and whatnot. So in this rich culture city where then technology became a part of it. So before the tech days, what are those fond memories you carry about Bengaluru?
Yeah, a lot of it, Bharat. Now, one of my earliest memories is I grew up in Chavarajpete. And, as a treat now and then, my mother used to give me 1 rupee coin. I used to clutch it in my hand, run from my house to Brahman's coffee bar. Okay, and those days I still remember 25 paisa per idli and 50 paisa per vada. So 1 rupee could get us 2 idlis, 1 vada with the same taste as it is today.
Wow.
In Brahman's coffee bar.
Okay.
Right, and today too, my dilemma is as I get out of my house, should I take left and go to Brahman's coffee bar? Should I take right and go to Vidyarthi Bhavan is the dilemma I face every day. Right, that is true old Bangalore, right?
Yeah.
And of course, going for movies in MG Road, in Rex and Lido and Symphony and Galaxy. I think you miss those days. And having ice creams in Corner House.
I partially have done those things. Can't say fully, but yes. But probably not at the cost of what you did. Different cost.
It dates me as well, but I think that's the beauty of Bangalore and cycling all over the place.
Yeah, true. I can absolutely resonate. I think that was the beautiful times of Bengaluru. Your early years was at Wipro and Infosys in the phase of your career when you started. and emphasis also, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
That gave you a good exposure to the heart of India's IT step up for you, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so Wipro, incidentally, I was on the manufacturing side.
Oh, okay. Not on the IT.
Not on the IT side.
Oh, okay,
I was in fluid power.
Oh, okay.
But it gave me an exposure to Japanese customers. I was in sales,
Oh,
which kind of served me well when I went to Japan to sell software to the Japanese in Emphasis. But I picked up part of the tech, not really tech, but I was in product management, which was an early role. That role didn't exist. I was in the product management team, on the first product management team set up in Infosys for Banks 2000. That's what Finacle was called then.
yes, correct.
And truly got inspired. We were all a part of the team led by Nandan.
Oh.
And truly inspired to watch him in action
Okay.
those days.
So, when did the tech journey start actually for you? Was it in Wipro, Infosys, or?
Yeah, so Infosys, I was selling, I was on the product team for Banks 2000.
Okay.
But that was a short span of
Short
time.
span, okay.
Then I did my MBA and then went on to Emphasis. I was always in sales. Never really into coding or building tech, selling tech.
Okay.
And Japan and BFL, erstwhile BFL, then Emphasis gave me a fantastic exposure to tech.
Okay.
Early days of 99, 2000, Y2K, the entire software boom that India was seeing. And then, of course, I must have worked for a cumulative of around 3.5 years after my engineering.
Okay. Before
I became an entrepreneur.
So, how was Japan stories for you?
Japan was probably the most exciting, but the toughest part. And once you figured that you can survive in Japan, you say, I can survive anywhere else. A single man office, asked to get sales from Japan. I was a complete misfit in Japan. I didn't know a few lines of Japanese was all I knew. A vegetarian, teetotaler, non-smoker. So people used to say, so what the hell are you doing in Japan? Right? And all I remember was a dusty old directory that I had. And remember, this is 2000 when Google didn't exist.
Yes, like the Yellow Pages days.
The Yellow Pages days, right? So all I used to do for the first 4-5 months was I had about 700 companies database.
Okay.
Call 10 companies every day.
Okay.
And say, does anybody know English in your company? And then they used to say, hey, ego wakarimasen ka. Then you bang the phone down. That's all I did. Then I realized that maybe English is an aspirational thing. So I changed my pitch to say, does anybody want to learn English in your company? And then I started getting meetings.
Did you forget what you were to sell?
I know, finally, I was talking about Ramayana, Mahabharata, teaching English. And my manager used to call and say, all that is fine, meetings are happening, where are the sales? But
oh my God, that was fun. So that cuts you down. What was that moment that you said that to yourself, hey, I want to become an entrepreneur? How did this drive come into you?
I think, I don't think there's any aha moment, except that, when I came back, Japan was still that old company culture, very, it was completely insulated from the startup world. I'm still talking of 2000. But when I came to Bangalore on a client visit in early 2000, I was blown away by what was happening here.
Okay.
I was out of Bangalore for almost 3 years, right? Then I looked at friends whom I knew, and somebody used to say, this guy has done a startup, he's raising money from a VC.
Back in 2000?
Back in 2000, in the group that I had, some 30, 40 people, right? A lot of ex-Infoscions were getting onto some startups.
Understood.
So I knew that group. So I was saying, hey, maybe if there's so much of buzz, maybe I should do something. But I think the aha moment to me was when I heard of somebody who had started a venture to raise money, and I said, I'll go meet him. I went to his swanky office. He and I used to have chai together. One reception was there. One pretty secretary comes and says, oh, Mr. So-and-so will meet you in half an hour. Please wait here. I'm saying, if this joker can go raise money and build this venture, why can't I do it?
Why can't I do that? Okay.
Right? And I think that is truly the seeds of an ecosystem, right? Each of us gets inspired by seeing somebody else. I'm sure, your journey would have inspired a lot of people to say, and you would look at me and say, if this joker can do it, why can't I do it? Somebody else will look at you and say...
I didn't do that, Madan. Probably we met much later.
But I think that is the that's the ecosystem magic.
Okay.
And then you started building the business plan. You'd say, let's build a business plan. Where does the business plan model work? You call a friend and he'll send you some deck and say, this is what a pitch deck looks like.
So impromptu, it just started.
Yeah. We just started figuring out what to do. I mean, I didn't even have an idea.
So all you knew was that you have to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, all I knew was, kuch karna hai. Let's try and do something.
It could be even selling groundnuts.
Yes, so I was exploring all sorts of ideas. Meeting people, and remember again, early days of tech.
Correct.
I don't think we even thought tech first. We were just trying to say, what can we do?
I know some portions of some stories because I have a good journey with you. I'm sure you don't remember what all stories you told me, but I do remember because I have grasped a lot of stories from you. I will come to that part. But before that, I have a precursor to that story which I'm coming to. What made you think that I will build something like MeritTrac to solve this problem?
No, it's all, sometimes it's all serendipity, right?
Okay.
A bunch of friends of mine who had quit Infosys had started a financial services company. Mm-hmm. And they apparently had got an order from a tech company to build a question bank management software. Right? So when I was trying to find out what can I do, they said, why don't you come and set up this division for us? I said, what the hell is a question bank management software? And they said, this company goes to campuses, does tests, and they have a set of questions that they need to ask. I said, we'll do the software, but what is it? How is it replicable? How is it scalable? It will not work. But that idea stayed at the back of my head. A few days later, I was passing through St. Joseph's College and saw a large board which says Infosys walk-in test. And Infosys had just started to scale up then. I don't know why, I just stopped my bike, went in, met an old HR colleague of mine who was running around harried, saying that today there are some 500 people coming and I have to run this test and do the scores, do interview, finish offers by the end of the day, and maybe I'll get only 30 people. The conversion rate is not more than 1:10, which was another data point, right? And thirdly, again, a few days later, there was an article in the papers which says this NASSCOM McKinsey report, which predicted that I think 2000, there was maybe all of 100,000 people in the IT world.
So you saw that boom.
And there was a report that says that 1 million people will be added in the next 10 years, right? And suddenly things fell into place to say, hey, if 1 million people have to get added, which means 10 million assessments have to happen. And if HR guys are so harried and struggling to conduct these tests, and there is a need for a question bank management software, why don't we create an assessments company?
Interesting.
Right? That's how the idea came about, saying, we are not a recruitment firm, we are not a placement firm, we are not a training company, but we'll do pure play assessments where we'll design tests. And in fact, our first pitch was, we will free up the Sundays for the HR guys so they can relax and we can do that work. So that's how the idea came. I mean, none of us came from any HR background. 3 of us co-founded MeritTrac. I was selling software in Japan. Murli was selling carpets for 3M.
Oh, okay.
Mohan was writing code for Citibank in London.
Okay.
None of us knew anything. We didn't know the H of HR or A of assessments.
And you were into building.
Yeah, and we thought, hey, we'll build an assessment company.
Just like we all folks doesn't know how to turn the stove on, but went on for cooking. Okay, so even the content was generated by you?
Yes, so we started to write the questions, design the questions, and therefore we said there's a science to it. There's an analytics to the questions, and therefore we were able to manage which question is medium difficulty, high and easy, and therefore depending on the job role, we had also figured out what percentage of questions must be from easy, medium, hard. We had a matrix. So we kind of figured out all of it from first principles.
I will tell you one story which you don't know. IBM was a customer.
Yes.
Okay, there's a guy who attempted and wrote an exam to IBM. He royally got trashed. He was actually scolding to all those people who built this content. He was cursing. And this guy is another than me. Way back in my campus, I was thinking, what is this MeritTrac? Why are they screwing my life? I didn't like this. And cut short after a few years, I'm sitting right next to him and discussing.
Unfortunately, we'll find at least for every one person who cracked our test, there'll be 9 like this who didn't.
I hated MeritTrac because I couldn't crack it. I was thinking, who is this MeritTrac who didn't get me into IBM?
In fact, IBM was one of our first customers.
Okay, this was way back 2012? No,
Yeah.
sorry, 2010?
2010 and continued to work with IBM
2010 is
also.
when I was trying to tell you the story. That's nice. So you got into MeritTrac, and then I'm sure MeritTrac journey, as rosy as what we are talking, was not.
Oh, no. I mean, see, end of the day, every entrepreneurial journey is more a bed of thorns than roses, right? You get to see only the roses.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've had several near-death experiences.
I know one which you told me that you had an investor from Shivamogga where you came back. And was it MeritTrac? It was MeritTrac, right?
Yeah.
So can you please tell that story? It's so interesting.
No, so we had this angel investor concept itself didn't exist. We found a guy who was ready to back us up, put some money in. He didn't understand equity, neither did we. Right? We took in some 30 lakhs or so, which is a lot of money then.
Yeah.
And started building the business. Of course, there are two parts here. One, of course, 9/11 happened.
Correct.
We almost went under.
So that was impacting directly to you?
Yeah, because outsourcing stopped.
Okay.
Recruitment stopped.
Okay.
We had built a reasonable business in 1 year, but December of 2001, we were zero revenues. We had maybe 1.5 lakhs in the bank. Our burn was about 3 lakhs, so we had 15 days of cash left. We had almost decided that we'll shut down. And that's why I'm, by some serendipity landed up at a Thai event.
Correct.
Met somebody who was sitting next to me who just put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Boss, ye hota hai rehta hai. You should not give up. I think your idea is good." And that gave me the motivation to say, "Yeah, let's not shut it down."
You went back and told your employees.
Yeah, we went back and told employees that no salary from now on. We'll all work. Whatever money we get, we'll put on the table. We'll distribute it. And we'll last till the party goes on. And we survived. So...
I remember this, you telling me in Jaipur. I was like, okay, that was a brilliant story. I wanted this to be on the record.
Yeah, so that I think was a defining period for us. That persistence, and you got to lage raho.
Correct. I mean, it's great to speak a near-death experience right now that you crossed it. But at that moment, at that juncture is very hard.
Yeah.
It cannot be explained because the experience what an entrepreneur goes through, I just don't know what to describe it.
Yeah, so absolutely right. See, it's easy to say in hindsight, but when you're through it, and as I think as entrepreneurs, we go through it every other day, every other month.
Probably every moment.
Yeah, so that whole aspect of that your heart is in your mouth, you're saying, will I see tomorrow, will I see day after?
Yeah.
But I think those are the experiences that define you.
Yeah. I can correlate to this for a good war. It's a war that we always...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, when MeritTrac was happening, when did you figure out that, hey, this is how I scale MeritTrac. This is where I see light at the end of the tunnel with MeritTrac. How would I proceed further? Like, what was the story? How did you articulate that whole story with MeritTrac? I'll bring this conclusion.
See, my sense is that, Bharat, even now, and MeritTrac days, if I look back, I think all of us live in two time zones, right? One is there's a longer term planning, right? You got to have some vision, some pathway. But the schizophrenic you also has to solve today's problems, right? You got to live one day at a time and figure out that you're alive the next day.
Absolutely.
With slightly better strength to handle the day. So, well, we had a vision that MeritTrac must be one of India's largest assessments companies and we should do that, this. Finally, you had to fight everyday battles to make that come true.
Correct.
And your vision keeps evolving around the way. I don't think you can predict anything. And obviously, as entrepreneurs, you learn the last thing you want to do is to predict the future. You want to kind of co-create the future. So you try and do as many things as possible to keep the future as bright as possible. Unfortunately, any investor says, "Boss, future to bright hai. Tell me about today."
But at one point, you guys handled 50 million assessments.
Yeah,
that's a massive number.
No, I think we really learned. See, three things happened which is a learning for us, right? One, customer loved our service. Right? And we got some phenomenal love from customers. In fact, we got so much of references that with one sales guy, we scaled from some 10 customers to 300 customers in a span of some 2 years. Me and another guy were the only two guys running sales. Right? We got so much of inbound queries because the design and the whole delivery mechanism, we had really worked hard. And it was a hard business. Two, we had figured out a way that you could be profitable. Right? It's only the later on investments as we started making that we slipped into the red. But we were profitable from year one.
Okay.
Right? And third, I think we loved what we did.
Yeah,
We were very passionate about talent. We were genuinely concerned that, in fact, at one point of time, we used to do assessments in about 400, 500 cities on the same day. 400, 500 locations. We had scaled that model, and each assessment is important, right? I mean, we're doing it, we're handling multiple customers, multiple locations. Margin of error is very, very low.
I mean, I'm sure that is one of the secret recipes which went on passion. Passion is very key.
Yeah.
You also have been making this statement multiple times and you have been quoting it. Unemployability is a myth.
100%.
You're telling that, and many of them have influenced, especially in the segment of rural youth,
Yeah.
rural entrepreneurship. How did this take birth? What made you think on the rural entrepreneurship? Because you're one of the earlier ecosystems available in the country today who started focusing on the rural entrepreneurship when people did not say, what is rural entrepreneurship? We don't know what it means. How can I empower a rural guy? And you always said that unemployability is a myth. Unemployability is a myth. So to say that, you need to have a strong conviction. Okay. And then probably, did this lead to Headed Life Foundation? How did you identify? What is the story behind this?
So it's a very interesting evolution again, Bharat, because as an assessments entity, we were all in the business of segregating people, literally putting a chart and saying, you're unemployable, you're employable for a particular job role.
Correct.
Right? That's what we did for a living.
I can feel that.
You find that, right? Right or wrong, we had to make choices.
Correct.
Now, we used to grapple with these things to say somebody who scored, it's the same logic as somebody who scored 36 is passed, somebody who scored 34.5 is failed.
Correct.
Right? You have to draw the line somewhere.
Absolutely.
There has to be a cutoff.
Absolutely.
Right? And we had seen millions of students coming in from tier 3, tier 4 towns who are cracking the code, who are hungry. Right? So that fascinated me to say, listen, we opened up many cities where we've gone and tested people, and we're finding tons of passionate, hungry, employable folks, right? But still in my mind, some people were employable, some are not, and that's the nature of the business and that's the nature of the beast. So in 2007 or 8, a couple of friends whom I got connected through TIE again, came back and said, we're setting up a rural BPO, can you help us find talent?
Rural BPO?
In Kanagiri or Koppal. I laughed and said, boss, it's hard to find talent in Koramangala. In Bangalore, you're talking about Koppal. Right? How do we find talent? Nobody from Koramangala will go to Koppal. And Koppal talent is not employable.
Do you have a model for MeritTrac also to assess that in rural entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so in fact, we have done a lot of work around customer service, empathy,
okay,
right? Outside of the classic aptitude tests.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But this guys, Sunil and Rajesh, who subsequently became my partners at JanAI, said, no, let's give it a shot and see what does it take to train rural youth to take up BPO jobs. 99.9% of me laughed and said, boss, this is like crazy. It's a waste of time. Nothing's going to happen. But that 0.1% said, why not? Let's see. So I went along the journey and was astounded to see how rural youth with absolutely not even a recognition of an English alphabet, never entered a school, never held a pencil in their lives, in 6 months could stand in front of an audience, deliver a lecture in English, completely grammatically incorrect, but the confidence that they delivered. And when we started our insurance claims processing work out of Koppal in month 9, month 12 we were meeting the metrics of the Mumbai office.
Wow.
Right? Kids who had never even seen an English alphabet were processing insurance claims online.
Ooh, okay.
And families who were earning 3,000 rupees a month income from various sources, these kids were earning 15,000 rupees a month.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Right? So that shook my being to say, how wrong we are to say people are unemployable. It is just that we haven't matched what their aspirations are, what skills are, and what the demand is, and we have to triangulate this, right? And the moment you do that, everybody is employable. But the challenge is we fix a round peg into a square hole, or vice versa, and blame the person rather than the whole.
Pretty interesting. Adding to this question, social entrepreneurship is a very big leap in your career. What was that motivation? Like, how this Head and Eye Foundation got stuck. I know that this was a thing, but how did that leap take within you?
So when I saw this, and by the time MeritTrac got acquired by Manipal.
Oh, you're already exited.
I was already exited. I mean, we had. I was still continuing to run MeritTrac as a CEO.
Okay.
But as a part of the Manipal group. But day by day, I started saying that, listen, this is just becoming another corporate job, right? What will it take for me to, fulfill my the inner being? And that's how, as Head and I we started from 9 to 120 people to 300 people. I started seeing the power of this. And I said, this is the joy that I need to take up. And what can I do to live that joy? And that moment I said, maybe it's time for me to focus purely on the impact that I'm creating. Keep the money aside. Let's keep it out of the equation. And that was a trigger for me to start off on the journey of the Head and Eye Foundation.
So this was right after MeritTrac?
Yeah. So after 2011.
That's nice. So when was the story of OneBridge?
So it's again interesting. So Head and Eye started, and I realized that when we were training people, they were all coming to Bangalore in search of jobs, or Hyderabad or Chennai. And I realized migration was not the answer. For a kid who's coming in from Koppal to work in a coffee day in Bangalore, earning 12,000 rupees, he or she is better off being in Koppal rather than coming to Bangalore, struggling to save or spending money from their pockets and living on the streets. They would rather stay at home with their parents, having decent meals at home, and then figure out what to do. So the idea was that what can we do to create jobs, similar rural BPO. I said maybe we should create jobs to closer to where they are and scale up the rural BPO. That's how the formal quote-unquote social enterprises start. That I started off with Village BPO and said, let's scale up the BPO. We tried hard for about 2 years. Was never able to go beyond 200 seats, right? Not because there was a supply issue, there was a demand challenge. At that time in 2013-14, internet infrastructure was very patchy.
Correct.
Outsourcing companies looked at Koppal and said, where the hell is it on the map?
The infra
and Koppal used to have an 8-hour power cut.
Correct.
Infrastructure, BSNL was the only available internet line into that.
Correct.
And customers were very, very cagey.
There was no 2G, there was no...
Yeah,
there was only 2G.
Yeah, they were very cagey to outsource things, so we never scaled. And that's how I realized that maybe we should try something else. And Amazon had entered India then.
Correct.
And a chance meeting with the country head of Amazon, whom I knew, I went there looking for BPO work. And the guy said, listen, I don't have that kind of work, but I can give you a job for one guy who can deliver packets. Can you guys read addresses of a tab and go deliver packages? I said, how hard is it? We are doing insurance claims processing. We can do that. As long as you can pay me 15,000 rupees per month, we will do that. So what started with one guy delivering 8 packets a day in Hosur, just outskirts of Bangalore, grew into OneBridge, where we now have, as we speak, we would have deployed today about 3,000 people delivering about 60,000 packages per day.
That's amazing. So that's how the assisted e-commerce concept came for you.
Correct. Correct. And realized that there is a massive opportunity in rural India. Commerce is happening, but at high friction. You need access, choice, convenience.
Correct.
Last mile delivery, distribution, technology plays a big role. Plus, you can create entrepreneurs at the village level who are already there, but can you augment their income through additional sources? And that's how the story of OneBridge began.
This looks very rosy while you're trying to say, but I'm sure when you speak about rural entrepreneurship, the ground level operations are going to be extremely challenging, because you're handling somebody who is not so inclined to entrepreneurship, or who comes with many of the challenges, but also comes with few other advantages, which is both the face of the coin. How did you outbeat that?
See, it's a challenge every day Bharat, in the sense, on one hand, the SLAs that we operate in are very high, right? With customers when we do last mile delivery or
Exactly,
whatever.
because you're handling a corporate side, extremely compliant corporate.
Correct.
And
On the other hand,
it is
the other extreme.
Absolutely.
Training them, monitoring,
Correct.
running high ops, right? Fortunately, my co-founder at OneBridge, Anil, has been our total backbone of operations. He's the CEO now. And he literally built this single-handedly, along with my other earlier co-founders. The last mile delivery operations is today, we are one of the largest, I can arguably say, who have delivered for rural. We've delivered close to about 85 to 90 million packages only into rural India. At almost, I would say, at about a 98, 99% compliance.
Wow, that's a
Very
massive
high
number.
rates of SLA adherence. And perhaps we are the only entity who's managed to figure out a way to run this profitably.
That's massive.
Right.
So handling that kind of numbers, I think you need to have a lot of processes in place.
Yes.
With people who are not inclined to processes.
Correct.
That is a
Correct.
challenge.
So what we have understood is truly the mind of a youth, the mind of an entrepreneur. What drives them? How do we generate incomes for them?
So it's a good story from for local to global. Thinking local and taking it global, I think this is a phenomenal story. Now with OneBridge that came in, so it was like first was MeritTrac for you, then Head and Eye Foundation came in between, then it was OneBridge. So you are circling completely to around social entrepreneurship or making a difference and stuff. So did you ever think of building some fancy tech or some other products where I can actually go to US, be at the Bay Area, build a startup, flamboyancy? Did you ever think about it?
So now that you asked that question, that thought never crossed my mind. Right? Of course, I had a lot of friends who were doing that. But for me, the only thing I measured myself was when I hit the bed at the end of the day. Do I truly feel that, listen, I did something meaningful today? Did the day keep me happy? Was I surrounded by people whom I loved working with? Right? And finally, can you sleep with a clean conscience saying that I've given this day my best? Right? As long as all of those were ticks, your mind does not look at any other possibilities. Right? So, even, with my mentor and guru, Anand Sudarshan, who was the former CEO of Manipal, we started investing in startups. And there too, we passed so many startups that are unicorns today when it came, because we said this does not fit into we wanted to crack some hard problems in education. And we invested in some series of edtech startups. Some of them are still cracking the code. But that made us good to say, hey, we are at least working with entrepreneurs who are solving some hard problems.
And how is the journey with TIE? Today you are a president for TIE Bangalore. Okay. You have done some unthinkable things and you also made me do it as well. So, without my knowledge, I have done it. You camouflaged me in such a way that it made me do that. So, I would want to deep dive come to the question, probably the later part of the conversation also. But now the question is, did TIE come into this play by then, or was it a later story for you?
It was, it's actually been an integral part of my journey in some form or the other, though it's only been about 2007 or 8 that I got actively involved. But 2001 and 2, I was a part of the TIE network.
Yeah, I understand when your MeritTrac story.
MeritTrac early days. Correct, then we, of course, got too busy with MeritTrac, but I used to stay in touch with TIE. But 2007, as Manipal had come in, one of my other, seniors from B School had taken over as the president of TIE. This is Pradeep Kar of Microland. And Pradeep was mounting a large event in 2008. And he said, why don't you come and volunteer and become a charter member? And that's how I got into TIE, because of him.
Okay.
And I rolled up my sleeves, almost like how you got conned by me, I got conned by Pradeep, did a bunch of stuff with TIE. It's called the TIE Entrepreneurial Summit in 2008. Saw the energy, made a lot of friends, and said, listen, this is seeming worthwhile. So I joined the board in 2008. And yeah, it's now been 16 years.
Brilliant. I'm so happy and glad that you kept it on record that I got caught by you.
It's that's what entrepreneurship is all about, right?
Absolutely. So, what are your current assignments? What are you currently heading on? Because my team told me about JanAI. I said, yes, JanAI. And my research team was saying, no, JanAI. I said, JanAI, what are you saying? I am not able to understand. Then when they educated me, the spelling of JanAI was much different. I said, what are you writing? Is this some new AI stack or something? No, this is JanAI. You should ask Madan what is JanAI or JanAI. I'm like, what is it all about? It was so interesting. I read about it. Then I was like, okay, where are you heading? This is brilliant. So can you please tell us what is it?
Yeah, so I think there are 4 or 5 larger ideas that we're pursuing now. When we said if there is Gen AI, how do we make AI work for the people rather than people work for AI? Right? So we said it should not be Gen AI, it should be Jan AI.
Wow.
Therefore, that is JAN.
That's a Hindi Gen.
The Hindi Jan or the Sanskrit Jan.
Sanskrit Gen, yeah.
Right? So we created an initiative called Jan AI and said, how do we really make AI work for rural citizens? It could be farmers, housewives, it could be SHG members, FPOs, youth. So we are now, through the Herald Foundation, we have seeded this initiative where we are now training about 10,000 people across the country who are rural citizens on uses of AI in their lives. We've just partnered and signed an MOU with IIIT Dharwad to set up a Center for Rural AI Innovation. And as we speak, there are about 50 students who are now doing user journeys for rural citizens on where do you think AI can work the most for them.
Okay.
And what is the ROI for that investment that we need to make or they need to make. And the whole idea is that I think I'm super excited with AI, but any tool is like a knife.
Correct.
You can use it to carve out something beautiful or kill somebody.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm trying to figure out how do we really use AI to create more jobs, to create more opportunities, to make life easier for our rural citizens. So JanAI is one such initiative.
Amazing. I'm sure it is multilingual. I'm sure it is.
Definitely. And I truly think the next frontier is not apps on phones, it's all voice.
Absolutely.
So we're doing a lot of work with using voice-enabled models, so on and so forth. That is one. We've also seeded, and that work is underway, an initiative called UGraph. It's called the Youth Graph. GRAF stands for growth, resilience, aspirations, and future readiness. Okay. The challenge today is there's no data and no voices of youth on what youth really want. Right? Most of our policies in education skills are all very top-down.
Correct.
Right? Nobody's really asking you, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What do you think your future readiness is? Where do you think your challenges are? How do we create solutions for that rather than telling them this is what you need to do? So we want to create an index which becomes India's first youth UGraph index to really understand the minds and hearts of entrepreneurs and youth. So that's another initiative we're working on.
Amazing.
At OneBridge, we are now trying to crack quick commerce for rural India. You know, how do you take, if quick commerce in urban is 1 day to 1 hour, why can't commerce be 10 days to 1 day in rural India? And therefore, how do you create more entrepreneurial opportunities for youth there? At GAME, we are trying to crack something called as the District Entrepreneurship Mission.
No wonder down the line you'll create a Zepto for rural India.
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, you can. And I think of course, I don't envision a 10-minute thing, but today people are struggling with 10 days.
Correct.
Lack of access. Even if you bring it down to a day, that's a huge gain.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a larger market to tap. And
absolutely. So there's lots of opportunities.
That's pretty interesting. Now, with all these initiatives which you have taken, Madan, and you're also part of a couple of boards, okay, and you're an external director, you have been mentoring couples then. You don't speak about your mentoring thing very loudly, and you have been avidly bringing changes into many companies, into different segments, different markets, and different shapes and sizes, scaling them from all possibilities. Some of them are startups, some of them are set companies, some are part of the hypergrowth, some are part of different ecosystems. How do you, I mean, like, where do you see yourself in more adding value in the upcoming times to come? Is it any set arenas that you always inspire you and do it, or like, it's just impromptu?
No, I think I began this journey almost 10 years ago, and if you take the skills side, it's almost about 25 years. In my mind, I have a framework which I've called as the Rubonomics framework.
Rubonomics. What does Rubonomics mean?
Rubonomics is the rural-urban economics.
Rural-urban economics.
So my thesis is that there are 4 elements that will truly make Bharat Viksit, right? And been thinking about the whole Viksit Bharat thing for almost now 15 years. One is talent. That there is immense talent, infinite potential. How do we unlock that potential?
Correct.
Second is aspirations. We have to understand and shape aspirations. And if you take aspirations out of the equation, it's a disaster. So how do we truly understand voices of rural youth, citizens? How do we understand aspirations? Third is entrepreneurial energy. That we've always been an entrepreneurial nation. It's only the last 200 years that this babu and corporate jobs have come.
Correct.
How do you unleash entrepreneurial energies across villages? And lastly, how do you use technology as a force multiplier, right? So in my mind, talent, aspirations, entrepreneurship, and technology, if you bring it together and combine it in different ways, you can create a new rural that can be called Ruben, which is not urban but not rural, and therefore Rubonomics.
Rubonomics, wow.
So if you look at everything that I do, well, it looks like it's all chaotic and madness. In my mind, I have a method to the madness which says that as long as it's got anything to do with talent, anything to do with use of tech in the non-tech areas, rural, anything to do with unleashing entrepreneurial energies, and anything to do with looking at aspiration and understanding what drives people. That's what I'm involved with. My wife, of course, keeps pulling my leg. Rupa keeps saying that, oh, by that thing you can justify everything that you do in the world, which is also a danger.
No wonder Oxford Dictionary picks up this Rubonomics word from now on and says, definition from Madan, what is Rubonomics?
Yeah, so I think it's a framework worth thinking about. In fact, I had set up a couple of Rubonomics institutes.
Oh, wow.
There have been research papers on that I'm trying to figure out how do you get that going.
Rubonomics. Something to learn about, absolutely. Madan, you have been, as I told you, adding to the previous question, Madan, you have been mentoring few companies, very subtly, not coming in the forefront, but making a humongous difference. And many doesn't know you have your hands right behind them. Some of them are even limited companies where you're on the external boards. How do you choose, this is a perfect company that I should mentor, or this I should invest my time? Because I know time is a most crucial part at your juncture now. How do you choose them, saying that, hey, you know what, I just want to be part of them? How do you choose that?
I think it happens quite naturally.
No framework.
No, it's the sense that, see, finally, it for me boils down to 2-3 things. One, do I see the energy in the other person? Right? Do I see the passion? Do I see that hunger to say,
let's go get that.
Let's go do it, right? 2, do I enjoy working with that person?
Makes sense.
Right? Because time is, as you said, I want to make sure that every minute I spend with positive energy and with people that I like. You know, the Madhu Rode that we had just now was such a beautiful experience.
I know.
Right? On a lovely evening. You know,
when it's raining in Bangalore.
Those are exactly. Those are the kind of memories that you want to create. Right?
Absolutely.
And third, is the entity making a difference? I mean, even whatever support or whatever I've been at Pace Wisdom.
Absolutely.
I love the fact that you're taking rural youth, putting them through a program,
Correct.
putting them on a tech pathway, right? I can see that is the difference, right? That I want to be a part of.
All credits to Azan.
Yeah, so I think that is for me, those are the markers. To say, is the team and the company truly making a difference? Are they able to make an impact?
Makes sense. So that keeps you going. I think this is brilliant, Madan, because not everybody can have this forecast to say on these metrics, because today it's all about different materialistic lives. But I think this is really brilliant. So I was always curious to ask this question to you, but I never got an opportunity to ask you. How do you, structure it? But now I understand. How do you keep this going? Adding to this, now it's a very philosophical response you gave, but you always keep saying doing good, feeling good, and and making good money.
Yeah.
This is something that
the ideal intersection we should all be working at.
Yeah, doing good, feeling good, and making good money. I can resonate to that statement when you're trying to make that, and you've been vocally saying it. It is a very powerful one. Okay, can you share a moment or any balancing of these, especially hard, and what learned in navigating, or how did you come to this kind of a thought process?
See, a lot of people ask me when I shifted over from Manipal to Headed High, to a for-profit, to a non-profit, whatever. What does the world on the other side look like? What is the difference between an enterprise and a social enterprise? Right? And I really struggled with that question for a couple of years. Till I realized that maybe we're looking at it the wrong way. The world should not be cleaved into enterprises and social enterprises. Maybe the world should be cleaved into enterprises and anti-social enterprises. Right? So it should be the other way around, right? Which means that every enterprise has to have a social cause deeply embedded within the organization. Right? And after that cause is embedded so deep, you have to behave like an enterprise. You have to make growth. You have to grow, you have to be profitable.
Correct.
Right? At some point of time, you have to make good money so that you can invest back into that goodness that you have at the core, right?
Absolutely.
This is what Tata said 200 years ago almost. When J. N. Tata started the Tatas, he said we exist for the community. Right? And the community has to benefit with our existence. 100 years ago, Ford in capitalistic USA said any business that is in the business of making only money is a poor business.
Correct.
Right? So, but not many companies can find that balance. And that balance is a tough one because every day you have to question yourself. Right? There are some dilemmas. There are some choices that you need to make. And it's not that you'll make the choice and sit. Every day you have to kind of live those choices.
Absolutely. Stint with Mr. Modi. How was that? You got an appreciation right from the man?
Oh, that was something out of the blue.
Yeah.
But I must say that...
I think it was Man Ki Baat.
In Man Ki Baat, we were mentioned by him.
I mean, Man Ki Baat is a very premium show done so very personally of Mr. Modi, and he's speaking about OneBridge and your name. You must be elated for that.
Yeah, it was quite bold from the blue.
Okay.
We did not even know of it till the show almost aired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't aware of it?
No, we weren't aware of it. In fact, somebody from DPIT called to say, yesterday somebody from PMO called to ask how to pronounce your name. I said, why would they do that? He said, something
Hope for the right reasons.
Man Ki Baat. I said, yeah. I said, when is it? He said, it should be out now sometime. I said, switch on the radio.
Did you search where the radio is?
I was sitting in Srinagar in Kashmir at that time running an entrepreneurship program.
Okay.
And I was trying to desperately figure out how to get that radio on.
Srinagar. Okay.
So that was quite a surprise.
It must be one top moments of your life, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. And of course, subsequently got a chance to see him
Yes.
quite up close.
Yes.
And, I think it's super inspirational to watch him personally in action.
I can understand. So, you must have been receiving a lot of calls after that, and I think many people must have been saying that they've heard it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was, when your existence and your work is pitched by the PM himself.
Absolutely. So, what is TIE and what is game? You're part of both.
So, TIE is, you've been one of the active charter members of TIE.
Yes.
Started almost 32 years ago in the Valley with the purpose of fostering entrepreneurship globally. As a non-profit, we are probably the world's largest non-profit for of the entrepreneurs, for the entrepreneurs, by the entrepreneurs. Well, TIE addresses a certain category of entrepreneurs. Well, the ambit, of course, is larger. We started GAME, Ravi Venkatesan, who's my co-founder and chairman at GAME, along with another friend, Mekin Maheshwari, who's one of the first guys at Flipkart. Three of us co-founded GAME with the objective saying that if India has to reap its demographic dividend, we need to create 150 million quality jobs the next 15, 20 years. And this job creation has to be distributed. It cannot be in certain cities only. Two, it has to be an upsurge of entrepreneurship that will make this happen. You can't just rely on large companies to create these jobs. So our dream was that, hey, can we unleash the power of 5-10 million enterprises who can go on to create 10-15 jobs each?
Absolutely.
Right? And that will create a mass upsurge in jobs, quality jobs and entrepreneurship. And that's how the name Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship. It's been 5 years on that journey.
Correct.
A lot of lessons.
How is it shaping up?
Yeah, so we've done a whole lot of experiments. I think we've known what will not work more than what will work. We're finally narrowing it down. We're doubling down on women entrepreneurship in a big way. How do you make women access the tech? How do you get them to access markets? So that's one large initiative. The other, of course, we've launched something called as District Entrepreneurship Mission, because we believe that every district ecosystem has to be developed. And there's a huge opportunity to develop that ecosystem with local actors coming together. So we've just done a fairly large, significant launch in Nagpur that we are now replicating across cities.
I want to take a personal question, Madan. One of my colleagues in my office asked me recently, saying that, what is all about entrepreneurship? Why should you become an entrepreneur? Why can't you work in a conventional business? So I was like, I couldn't say him that entrepreneurship is an addiction. Okay, that you cannot walk off. I probably gave him an explanation in the definition of an addiction. If you have to answer him or her, what do you think?
So there are two ways of looking at it, Bharat. One is, do I have to think entrepreneurially and do I have to be an entrepreneur? I think in the first, you don't have a choice.
Yes.
Everybody has to think entrepreneurially.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it is a critical 21st century skill.
Correct. Which is not being taught in schools.
Which is not being taught in schools, which has to be taught mandatorily.
Yes.
Which I hopefully will happen at GAME with our partner Udyam. We've done a lot of work. Headline, we're doing a lot of work on entrepreneurial mindsets.
Amazing.
So that is one part. So the argument is that everybody has to think entrepreneurially. Now, why should you be an entrepreneur? My argument is two levels. One at a personal level, the other is a national interest level. Right? At a personal level, I would argue that it's not that it is about today, tomorrow, whatever. I would think that an entrepreneurial journey gives a far more fulfilling perspective.
Absolutely.
May not necessarily be money.
Correct.
Right? But the thrill of entrepreneurship, the addiction. The highs that you get.
Yes.
Right? And the lows, of course.
Yes.
I think it teaches you a lot about life than just being in a company.
Yes.
Two, I think if the top 1% of India were to stand in a queue looking for jobs, who will create the jobs?
Correct.
Right? So if we are privileged enough to have received great education, if we are privileged enough to sit in AC offices and earn our wages, then I think there is there's a sentiment that I have that, listen, we better be the job creators than job seekers.
Correct. I was also able to explain the chap saying that the graph of life is like ups and downs. The straight line is death line.
Yeah.
So entrepreneur's life is the graph, which is ups and downs, and that's
the
life.
flat lines. Yeah.
I mean, like, that was a throw at my end, and probably I could think that way. We'll take that. You have been doing some phenomenal programs in TIE. Being a president of TIE Bangalore chapter, there are many who admire you. There was a mammoth event called TGS, which drained blood and sweat of many. Once a lifetime can be thought.
Yeah.
I don't think so that everybody, if you ask anybody saying that let's do one more TGS, they will run away out of the city. They'll probably delete your number. They will say, I don't know, Madan Padaki. How did you pull that event? I mean, that was a massive entrepreneur event. And you said that it's going to be Olympics of entrepreneurs. Wow, how did you get that Olympics of entrepreneurs? And I'm so glad, knowingly, unknowingly, I'm part of the journey. I was like, that year went just by a flea. I'm like, how could you think about that, Madan?
No, I think it is that entrepreneurial energy, Bharat.
I don't know, this is next level energy.
The beauty of it is like a wide canvas, right? You could paint anything on it. So we went berserk. And it was truly a lesson in entrepreneurship for me because you started with nothing, right? There were no resources. We were all depending on all of our volunteering good. I mean, the secretariat we had was only a few people.
Correct.
And we didn't have any resources to start with.
Correct.
But yet we were dreaming that we will make it the world's largest
entrepreneurial event.
Which really happened.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think...
how many people attended?
About over a period of 4 days, we had over 28,000 footfalls.
Amazing. And 90% entrepreneurs.
Almost all from the entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Wow.
Right? We had excited students. I mean, you had engaged with quite a few of them.
Absolutely.
So, and we had global entrepreneurs coming from across the world. So for me, it was more a excitement and entrepreneurial challenge to say, let's pull this off. The crazier, the better.
That was like a new definition to crazy. 1 year of hurdle, not 1 day or 2 day, and no sleep for a year. Absolutely thinking. I think you must be thinking by eating, sleeping, TGS.
Yeah. It's been, in fact, after that, there's been so much of vacuum. But it is a once in a lifetime experience.
Correct.
More importantly, see, I think the event was a forcing function. Event is an event, it's fine. But it brought so many of us together.
Correct.
It showed the power of what Bangalore and India can do. In fact, a few weeks ago, I was in the Silicon Valley participating in various events. And it was fascinating and funny to hear everybody out there now starting to say, oh, but you know, we are not like Bangalore. Don't compare us to Bangalore. Silicon Valley, Bangalore is like a big wedding. Silicon Valley is like a birthday party.
Oh my God. I remember one of the events on a tie assignment to Singapore. I don't know if they know this. I was briefing the Singapore chaps saying that, hey, look folks, you need to come to Bangalore. If you're not coming to Bangalore, you're really going to miss something. And I told them saying that we all witnessed the Singapore event brilliantly and you should do that. I just heard from people saying, hey, you know what, you can't come near to Singapore. I said, let's see that. But I never spoke to them later than that, but I'm sure they also have an opinion saying that Bangalore put it off.
Yeah. I mean, by far it's been the largest event ever in the history of time.
I could see that madness and I could see that commitment, and I'm sure, I think who's and who's of the world were there.
Yeah.
And we had such kind of things. I was blessed to see Andre Agassi himself.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was like the event went very well, but crafting to such kind of an event, I don't know, Madan, like what does it take? I myself probably can't think to that extent to craft. I don't know what you eat, what you sleep, or rather what you dope. I don't know.
No, I think there were so many moving parts. Keeping all of it together and pulling all the threads together.
That was the thing that scared me off. I saw some committees of 3 pages, 4 pages, list of committees, and each committee was so mammoth, and you have to build everybody together, come on the same page, sync on the same parallel lines, and it is like one ballet which has to...
Exactly. The orchestration of all this.
Yes, it was a pure ballet.
Yeah. And finally it all came together so beautifully.
Yes. I like the way you told in one of the talks that the cost and how the train stopped. Yeah. I don't know I can take that officially right here, but that is like, that's revolving in my mind a lot.
You have to balance every day to figure out how fast can you go, how far can you go, but it taught me a lot.
It's madness, Madan. It's absolute madness. I don't know what your family must have called you after this, but I can absolutely understand. What's the road ahead, Madan? What are you planning? What are you envisioning? What is the message that you would like to pass across?
See, slightly on a slightly philosophical note, Bharat. Well, you have certain directions that you want to take. What I've figured out is live for the day, live in the moment. Do whatever has to be done that day. Give the day your best shot, right? Be with people that you enjoy. Try and make a difference. And go to bed saying that, listen, if this was the last day on earth,
I made the best of it.
I made the best of it. And the next day is a bonus. Right? And I think things will evolve. Well, there is a longer term plan. Entrepreneurship is all about serendipity and conversations.
Absolutely.
Right? You meet somebody, you spark an idea, you seed something. Let's see how it takes shape. Right? All I can say is, live life with no regrets.
True. Very true. What keeps you going?
A good filter coffee in the morning. And still that idli vada from Brahmin's coffee bar. And the lovely masala dosas my wife makes. But I think it is the sheer joy of it, yeah.
Yeah, you have a perfect gene of a Bangalorean. No wonder, Madan. What is a ending message that you would like to give? Because I'm just going so impromptu talking to you because this is like a good conversation over a coffee that we are having. And I just wanted to speak my heart out in this episode. And I never got a chance, or rather I never got a chance to make you sit like this, even in the flight which we traveled together. There are so many times that we have traveled in the same flight.
Correct. And the same bus as well.
And the same bus as well, but I can never catch you so much at the same time other than in front of a camera. Okay, I just probably cannot make you sit like this, and I don't know when I get a second occasion to make you sit like this and talk. We have traveled hours, we have traveled all the way from Japan to India, but we could never spend so much amount of time. So I really want to get a message from you that you would foresee and you would like to implicate, or that you would want to say or share something right here, which is on the top of your mind or which is full of your heart. You can put it across.
Sure, Bharat. At the core of it, I would just say, you know what, spread the love, spread the warmth. Make sure that we are able to help each and everyone around the way. My favorite song that I think should be every entrepreneur's song is from this movie Anadi, which says, "Kisi ke muskurahaton pe ho nisar, kisi ka dard mil sake to le udhar, kisi ke vaste ho tere dil mein pyar, जीना इसी का नाम है."
Absolutely.
I think that's life.
So that's so brilliant, Madan. That's absolutely brilliant. Okay, Madan, now we have a small segment for you.
Okay.
A rapid fire round with Madan Padaki.
Arre wah. Okay.
So I know you're a fire. So I don't know how much of a rapid fire you are. So let's
Fire away.
Fire away. Let's take it. If your mood today were a weather forecast, what it would be? Rainy, sunny, moderate?
Today.
Yeah.
I really hope it does not rain and RCB wins.
Oh, you say that, Madan, to me. So, are you a idli person, vada person, Karabat person, being a Bangalore?
Yeah. I would. I would take all of it.
All of it.
Idli vade with chow chow bath.
You're an extra arm there. Would you rather be stuck in a lift with a motivational speaker or a stand-up comedian?
Stand-up comedian any day.
Any day. Okay. If you had to sign off every email with a movie quote, what would it be?
Lage raho munna bhai.
What's your funniest misheard lyrics moment?
Oh, lots of it, yeah.
Okay. What was your go-to college movie? When I say college, what comes to the top of your mind?
Bunking.
Bunking. The most nastiest thing you have done as a kid?
Oh, lots of it. Yeah, I mean, this can be another episode altogether, but yeah, I mean, a lot of Deepavali crackers, lighting up the rockets on the ground and trying to see whom hits on the road and all that has been some crazy moments during childhood.
One thing that world doesn't know about Madan Padaki.
That I am Madan Padaki.
Most interesting Kannada movie that you admire and you love to watch again and again.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Annavaru.
Okay.
I can
Brilliant.
watch any of his movies over and over again. Bangarada Manushya, ಅಥವಾ Gandhada Gudi. Yeah, and of course, some of the older movies.
Nastiest things done with college friends name the two college friends with whom you did nastiest things, even today you're connected with.
Oh yeah, we were a group of 5 people who were staying in a rented house in Mysore during my engineering. And in fact, I just, 2 very dear friends, Sharat and Prasanna, who we've been on multiple adventures together. And both are very dear friends, the families are very close.
If a food item could represent your leadership style, what would it be and why?
That's an interesting one.
Biryani, pulao.
I would say Bisi Bele Baat.
Bisi bele baat. Again, the Bangalore gene pops out. Which childhood superstition did you actually believe in for way too long?
When we were growing up, there was this thing about Nale Ba.
I remember this as a kid.
So I remember writing very, very studiously Nale Ba on my front door every day and going to bed.
Who were you writing this to?
I know.
If you had to create a startup that only solves embracing problems, what would it be called?
Oh, that would be problematic.
Problematic. Which cartoon character do you secretly relate to the most?
Oh, I love Asterix.
Asterix. Oh, that's nice. Okay.
The magic potion and the energy.
A fictional movie title that best describes your teenage years.
Bala Brahmachari, because I had a lot of hair those days.
Let's not get to the air, mother.
I know.
One thing you always carry but rarely use. A number, not your phone, other than that. Any other thing? You carry always and rarely use. Do you have anything like that?
Nothing actually. Yeah, I mean, I would say the notes in my purse, it's all digital payments now.
That ends up with the rapid fire, Madan. Thank you. Thanks for answering your rapid fire round. Full marks to you.
Oh, thank you. At least somebody is giving me full marks.
Yeah, because I got no marks for MeritTrac.
There you bring it back. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.